Hello, welcome. My name is Charles Omolo. I'm an associate pastor in Nairobi Christian Church. I'm also a life coach and a counselor. And today, what I want to talk about is titled simply a topic on parenting. As I personally have two boys who are teens. I also have had a privilege and a chance to meet young people who I coach, train, counsel. But the more I meet them, the more I come to realize that what I'm about to share with you is a big challenge. Understanding the person, all of us we have a need within us, a need of being validated. And if that need is not met effectively, what happens? You find that we rebel. Sometimes rebellion comes from these young people, not because they want to rebel. And to you, what most likely is rebellion for them, that's just a way of life. So questions that I would want to answer today: why are our children finding it difficult to understand our generation? What can we do to be able to connect with them? And so that is what I want to do today. But as I take you along, I want you to seek to understand some of the things that are happening that are different from our time. In our days, we would take polythene paper, football, we take polythene paper, we put together, tie a rope around it, we play football, we would have moments of wrestling, physical wrestling. But in this day, you find that the games they play are indoor computer games, and so much more they wrestle on the computer, and no wonder you find that for them, while us we had bullying that was physical, for them their bullying is cyberbullying. And the older generation, we seem not to understand. Then you come down, in our days, the way we used to dress, a man has got to dress well, the iron cloth well, and a lady needed to dress her clothes bottom down up to the knee. But in these days, for us older people, we're like, this generation is confused. They take a new cloth and then they tear the tear on the knee, and they have the torn cloth, and they say that is a fashion, and they come to church with that. And you're like, what confusion is this? But that's who they are, their generation. Apart from that, cooking food, chicken, we run around, we get the chicken. After getting the chicken, it is killed, we slaughter it, we remove the skin. After that, then it's cut into pieces, and thereafter it is cooked. And the chicken would get ready in 3 hours, 4 hours time. So in the meantime, there was no snack in between. You go on top of a tree, you climb, you look for guava, and looking for guava, let me tell you what happens. You're chasing monkeys to fight for that guava that is ripe. You go on top of a tree, you find a monkey going for the pawpaw that is ripe. The pawpaw is ripe. And so what happens? You take the pawpaw, you chase the monkey away, and you peel it, and you eat. You don't get concerned about what if I get infection. Our immune systems were good. Birds would eat pawpaw. We chase the bird away, we take and eat this pawpaw. And that was our snack as we wait for the chicken that is supposed to be slaughtered to be eaten. Information, when someone died, an urgent information, someone would cover like about several kilometers walking. Today, the other day when one of my cousins died, as soon as they died, before our relative even called, we had it on Facebook. Their issues are fast on top fingertips. Punishment of children was no joke. If you do a mistake, you'll be punished by a community. But of these days, you are not. They talk about privacy, or they talk about confidentiality. You have to be careful not to destroy their self-esteem. You have to protect them, and we never knew things like those. And that's why at times understanding our generation by young people is very important. But equally as older people, it's equally important for us to understand their generation so that we can know. A man of wisdom avoids all extremes, so we can know how to find the healthy balance. Today, what do they have? Facebook, cyberbullying. You're like, what on earth is going on? We can't understand. Now, waking up early in the morning, we'd be woken up by a cock crowing. That was our alarm. After the cock has crowed in the morning, thereafter, around 5 o'clock, 6 to 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, as the day becomes brighter, then the birds begin to whistle and sing. That nice sound. And then you wake up into that sound, get ready, and you go to school. That was our alarm. When you wake up, apart from that, when you were in class, how would you know the time? We didn't have a wristwatch. For us, how we know the time, if you're lucky enough to have a roof that has a hole because there was no ceiling board. So that hole in the roof or the window light, when the light comes into the room, as the light moves on, the sun moves on to the top, the light, that particular light that would come into the room would change the direction, position. There was a position where when the light just came and reached, lunchtime is coming, you're ready for food, you're salivating, and exactly at that time when that light reaches there, you knew that I'm supposed to go for lunch and the bell would ring. That was our generation. But today, children have watches, children have all kind of timing, they have all kind of alarm. That is who we are. It's good for young people to know us. And old habits die hard, but to you and I who are older, we have to know how to accommodate the younger generation, to take care of them. And so to the older generation, unless we become intentional to adopt and adjust, we will not go far. And you find that we are so good at adjusting. How come we are not good with the parenting? Mobile phone comes. Before we used to, the dialing phone, the one you dial, and after dialing is when the phone call goes through. But we've adjusted so well to a point where now we even accepted online Facebook, doing marketing on LinkedIn, on YouTube. We're doing all these things. But yet when it comes to parenting, we are still stuck in the 19th century. What is happening? So it's very important to be able to understand these things. As we continue, apart from that, you remember the road trip. My place would take a whole day traveling from a country that is Oyugis down to Nairobi. And the roads were bad. And you remember those particular Mawingo buses, the Leyland. When it reached a hill, you'd see the driver trying to push it. And it goes and it's trying to push the car, and the car is not moving, and the roads were bad. By the time you're reaching, you have the chicken are under the seat, you have some of them, the goat, on top of the roof, and you travel to Nairobi and you come the whole day. Nowadays you find that the roads are good and the means are so fast that they reach, those who are able to fly, within 40 minutes you're in Nairobi. And you wonder, why are they impatient? They are not impatient. You drive with them, you take like about 4 hours to your place. They're like, are we there yet? They're like, I wish you knew how we used to travel. Apart from that, our swimming pool was a river. We'd go to the river, we swim. That was our life. We never knew things like birthdays. We had no idea. So when we forget your birthdays, please understand that what happened. Then all we knew, the day Christmas was a big thing, and the Boxing Day, the day for boxing, we eat chicken. That's the day for eating chicken. And that lunch would come around 3 o'clock. You're already starved. But we never starved. Our snacks, would go to the trees, we pick some guavas, and we eat, waiting for that meal, the chapati and rice. And the other holiday was the Easter holiday. That is what we knew. Nowadays we have too much holidays, too much celebration, and at times we do not, the young people don't understand these things, and this is where we come from. We had social fellowship, face-to-face fellowship. For the younger people generation, what we have is social media, or they call social media. Right on top. I want fellowship, I Google quickly, 1 minute, we are with the other person, we are talking. And so as we understand these things, we've got to understand that the universe is changing too fast. But for those of us who are parents, God expects of us to be able to parent our children. Our work is to parent in accordance to His ways. And we got to understand that. But for us to parent well, we must understand this generation. Understanding the generation is very important. So, have you ever wondered why we have so much drama with our people? It's because they don't understand us. And they're children. Their brains are still developing. So it takes you and I as parents to be able to make every effort to understand them. They are surrounded by modern technology. Things that, I want food. Just an order on the phone, within 30 minutes have the food with me. In our days, we took 2-3 good hours waiting for that meal to happen. What happened? Life is give and take. To the younger generation, please consider where we come from as well. Be patient and educate us. But for the older generation, we must not get stuck where we began from. We must be willing to change to become better. So we all want to feel valued, and for this to happen, it is give and take. In the book of Proverbs says, Proverbs chapter 22 verse 6, train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it. The way for your children is already planned by God, the way they should go, and the way they should not go is not the traditional way, the way we lived. And so discovering the pattern, the DNA that God has put within that child. I know of a young man who the parent told him to go for a course which he didn't like. He went over, finished the course. A friend of mine, after finishing, when he became an adult, started working, he stopped that course, went, did what he liked. A waste of time. So the way they should go is seeking to understand the DNA of that child. What do they appreciate? What do they like to do? And then you train them, you coach them. Now, you got to go back. In our days, having a girl becoming a conductor was not the thing. A girl becoming a mechanic, touching grease, but nowadays you go to the garages, you find women, they're the engineers, and they know their work very well. When they touch your car, those cars are good. That never used to happen, but it is happening. It is important for you and I to be able to accept that. And I want to tell you something, change is not easy. Change is not easy. I have a friend, working busy gentleman. What happened on a Friday? He had a busy week. And in his busy week, what happened on Friday? He said, I'm going to rest and I'm going to have a wonderful time. Tomorrow I'll sleep until midday. I've been so tired. Then he went to sleep. He ate his food. 6 o'clock in the morning, his boss calls him and tells him, I want you to come to the office. He's like, what? Why didn't you tell me yesterday? Of course he didn't tell his boss that, for respect. So what happened, fast forward, he went to the office. The boss came 2 hours later. The man had been agitated, he was frustrated. And then what happened, the boss handed him a document and he was like, now what? Are they sacking me? What has happened? So as he was opening the letter, he was shaking. And the boss asked, are you okay? In pretense, he said, I'm okay, in pretense. And when he opened the letter, what he got was, congratulations, you have been promoted and you have been given a good package salary. Man, he shouted and laughed and smiled. But the question you've got to ask yourself, why do people resist change? People resist change, number one, because their interest, they feel like their interest is not covered. They feel like, what is it in it for me? But if there's something good that is going to come in that change, people will accept it. And for those of us who are parents, change has come. We must not resist. But that's where now you and I must take our time to be able to invest, to seek to understand the young people. What, why, where, how? Why are they behaving? Are they just crazy to behave the way they behave? No. Time has come and the change has come. If we don't accept change, the change will destroy us. And that's why we don't have wonderful relationships. So the question I got to ask you, do you understand your children? The current generation is known as a high maintenance generation. Discovering the how of the 21st century in parenting is key to be able to resolve the problems we're going through. Remembering that old habits die hard and we have to be intentional. We have to be intentional to be able to kill them. Listen, our habits were controlled. We were beaten with belt to control our habits. Of late, you cannot beat the habits out of the children. They say when you do that, you bring their self-esteem down. You're destroying the child. But that's just who they are. For us, belt did not bring self-esteem down. Of late, you cannot publicly punish your children in front of people. It will distort and destroy them. Emotionally distraught. At the end of it all, you end up actually as a parent paying money for mental treatment. What you cause to your children yourself. So currently, belt will not work. The next thing that you and I must do is we have as parents be intentional to seek to understand this generation. Seeking to understand them is try to fit ourselves in their shoes, try to fit in technology, whatever the world they are in, and parent them from there. That's what we must do. While the world is evolving, we cannot use the crude methods which were used in the olden days to control our children today. Be very careful. Those of us who have relatives who come to visit, when we stay together, we would come and sleep in one room, all of us, and the purity levels were very high. Of late, you bring your relatives to sleep in the same room with your children. You hear children are molested because the world is corrupt. The world is decaying. So as a parent, you got to be careful that you don't expose your children to unwanted temptation. Men and women will come and molest them. We cannot do that anymore. Oh, but it worked with us. It doesn't work in this generation. Are we together? So if possible, avoid sharing, even allowing your own children to share bed together. What is our solution? Information must be gotten. We have to read, and that's where life coaching comes in. Please feel free to visit a life coach around you, people like us, to help you to know how to maneuver being a parent around your children. I hope that helps. And so finally, it says in the book of Ephesians 5:15-17 says, be careful. Be very careful then how you live, not as unwise, but as wise, making the most of every opportunity, because the days are evil. Therefore, do not be foolish, but understand what the Lord's will is for your children, for this hour and this time that we live in. Are we together? Why should we do that? Because the Bible also says the devil is literally looking for people to devour, and he wants to devour our children. He wants to devour our houses, and much more for those of us who are church leaders and ministers and pastors and elders. We have to stand on our feet to be able to understand this next generation. Unless we are desperately ready to adjust with the will of change, failure awaits you and I. We must stop being naive and make life happen. Life is what you make it. Wishes are vanity in vacuum, yet when appropriately implemented, they bring forth eternal fruit that feeds us and the next generation. Thank you. At New Life Health Opinion, we believe that doctors treat, but God heals. We also do life coaching. If you have any issues, life coach, for career path for your children, family, and whoever it is, please feel free to see us. Apart from that, at New Life Health Opinion, we also do medical tourism, meaning we help give medical advice for people who want to fly abroad for treatment. I hope you've been encouraged. Thank you. God bless you. Thank you.